What is up, home workout and bodyweight exercise dads? In today's video, I'll be sharing with you the 7 highest leverage proven habits that will help you lose weight fast. I'm not talking about temporary solutions and exercise and diet, trends and fads, simply for the sake of novelty and entertainment. This video is probably about the things you already know you should be doing, but you're not because you're keeping yourself distracted, waiting for the next quick fix. So if you want to stop doing that and you don't want an easy solution, but an actual one, keep watching. Let your spirit rise. Habit number 1 is weigh yourself in daily. And besides me vouching for this, there's even research proving it. Weighing yourself daily is a powerful accountability and feedback tool. It helps you identify behavioral patterns and choices that have a positive or negative impact, and it keeps you both motivated and honest with your goal. This is something that is actually mandatory for everyone in our coaching program, and we often see people make progress in the beginning just by focusing on this one single habit. Another thing to mention here is how men's weight can fluctuate often, anywhere between 1 to even 6 pounds per day. This can be because of variations in intestinal load, but also water retention due to sodium intake and stress sometimes. So imagine if you only weigh yourself weekly and you happen to do that on a day that your weight is fluctuating on the high end. It can be very easy to get discouraged, thinking that what you're doing is not working, and starting to sabotage everything you've been doing so far. That's a very common pattern we see. On the other hand, though, when you weigh yourself daily and you focus on the average of that, as we do with our trackers, then you have a more reliable metric. Habit number 2 is walk 100,000 steps per week. Now, even though my average step per day might be a little bit lower than that, I always make sure that I hit 100K by walking a bit extra if required in the weekend. Last week, the weather was great, which always helps with some extra motivation for walking a bit more. Although I never make bad weather an excuse to not get my steps in. And my total step was 121,000. And that definitely showed on the weight scale. I did see an increase in my weight loss. So yeah, walking is definitely a great way to make sure that you're putting in some extra work to make your weight loss a bit easier. Now, if that sounds a lot at the moment and your walking average is a lot less, you obviously want to build that up gradually. What I do is every afternoon after I'm done with work, I like to go for a 1-hour walk. This is my unwinding routine that is unnegotiable. I used to struggle to make time for this in the past, but by squeezing in 1.5 hours of work before 7 a.m. in the morning and setting some strict boundaries across the rest of the day, I've figured out how to do this at least most days, without skipping it. During the first half of my route, I like to listen to an audiobook as my mind slowly lets go from work and all the stresses of the day. Right now, I'm listening to Living an Untethered Life, which I highly recommend. Mid-route, I reach a calisthenics park where I get in 2 dead hang sets in order to work a little bit on my grip strength, but most importantly, to decompress my spine and to stretch my shoulders after a long day that involves plenty of sitting and working on a computer. And on my way back, I like to do some mindful walking, and after that, some retrospection, reviewing my day to see if there's something I can do better tomorrow. Other than strength training, focusing on a high total daily activity can play again a big role when you're trying to lose weight. For starters, moving keeps you busy. After all, the best way to overeat is heading straight home after a winded, stressful day. Of course, getting a lot of steps doesn't mean that you can eat a lot more. That doesn't, mean that you can make excuses for messing up your diet, but it can make it a lot more tolerable. So there are all kinds of ways that you can increase your step count, and I dive deeper into that in a video that I've made specifically for this topic. Another, though relatively new at least, habit that has helped me easily boost my weekly step count is zone 2 work. So if you struggle to get enough steps during the day, maybe, considering a slow 30-minute jog, which is usually about 5,000 or 5,500 steps, or doing 2 to 3 longer 40 to 50 minute jogs per week can be an easy way to boost your weekly step count without compromising recovery from strength training. Habit number 3 is drop or limit alcohol. I'll be honest and I'll say that I am a big fan of alcohol, but it's definitely not a friend of fat loss and overall health. All the serious research nowadays shows that even the whole 1 glass of wine per day thing is a myth, and there are zero benefits to it. From a strictly physiological aspect, it's just a toxin for your body. That being said, I also think that you don't have to live a sterile life in order to get in great shape and to be healthy. A reasonable limit of 2 portions per week can work just fine, especially if you combine that with positive social activities such as kicking back with nice people. I mean, if blue zone people like the Carians can have wine every day and live to 100, there must be something to what the Greeks say, pan metron ariston, which is basically everything in moderation. Obviously, I know that for some people, alcohol can be a whole different problem and struggle, and sometimes cold turkey approaches work better for some when it comes to this topic. So keep that in mind as well. The way I enjoy my 2 portions is by always having a drink on an empty stomach, since it's an easy way to get a little bit of a buzz without having to drink too much. That way I can enjoy my beer, kick back with friends after a long week, and also decompress from stress. As a personal rule, I never drink while eating because I find it's easy to lose track that way. Plus, it doesn't really do anything for you when you mix alcohol with food. Instead, I just switch to sparkling water, which helps me feel like I'm not missing out, and I feel pretty fine after that. Focusing on getting stronger while trying to lose weight makes a huge difference. When your muscles are in a catabolic state after a hard strength workout, everything in your body changes. Nutrient partitioning, meaning how your body utilizes fuel, improves. Your metabolism increases due to the temporary afterburn effect, also known as EPOC. Insulin sensitivity increases as well, which means that your body regulates blood sugar a bit better. And the more muscle you build and hold on to, the more calories you keep burning, since muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue, increasing that way your basal metabolic rate and helping you burn extra calories throughout the day, even when you are not exercising. Especially if you're a busy dad and your workout time is limited, you need to train till technical failure during at least 1 set per exercise. Of course, the key when training hard is perfect form, which is why we always ask for form video check-ins from the people we coach. So if you train alone, make sure you record and review yourself often, since how you feel you're performing an exercise and how you are actually performing it can oftentimes be a completely different story. Even for me nowadays, sometimes I look at my form for the videos that I shoot for this YouTube channel, and I realized that I can do a little bit better. So reviewing a video of your technique, very, very important. Habit number 5 is drop sugar and figure out a healthy, high protein dessert instead. Desserts pack a ton of calories and obviously are easy to overeat. Everybody knows that. So if you are a sweet tooth kind of guy, like me, having an ideally high protein alternative that hits the spot can go a long way. The way I calm my late night sweet tooth is Greek yogurt mixed with some whey protein and a bit of dark chocolate shaving. I prepare this once a week. It only takes 3 minutes, and that way, whenever my sweet tooth craving hits, I get a portion in and I'm good. Overall, for fast results, I would recommend keeping your desserts anywhere between 1 to maximum 2 portions per week, and also having those outside your house. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient with the highest thermic effect, meaning that you burn 3 times more calories to break it down compared to carbs, and close to 10 times more calories compared to fats. Plus, when it comes to maximizing muscle while minimizing body fat, again, protein is king. You need it for recovery, for muscle growth, and to minimize also muscle loss, especially when you're trying to lose weight. And overall, keeping protein high is a no-brainer. Make sure you make it a habit to include minimum 1 portion with every meal, and getting worst case scenario 4 to 5 portions every day. Lastly, and not leastly, habit number 7 is keep track of your portions. Measuring your food intake is crucial if you want to lose weight consistently. Yes, you will probably lose some weight in the beginning if you practice all the above, but sooner or later you will hit a plateau. So, if you have no idea of how much you are eating, that's like walking in the dark. Now, tracking calories and measuring everything on a kitchen scale, gram per gram, is probably the most effective way to do this. But besides being impractical and in many scenarios, probably not possible, such as when you're traveling, when you're eating at a restaurant, it's also the most laborious and boring approach, at least for me. It takes the joy out of food, and therefore it never ends up being sustainable for most people, especially busy dads. Hand portioning, on the other hand, pun not intended, which is the system that we use, is super easy to learn and most importantly easy to practice, and therefore sustainable in the long run. The only tools that you need are your hands, which you have with you all the time anyway, and once you stick to it for a week, it becomes pretty effortless. All right, now the last 8 weeks I've been losing steadily 1 pound per week, or about half a kilo per week, and the greatest thing about all this is that it's happened almost effortlessly. I haven't experienced almost any hunger at all, other than the first 3 days, I would say, when I switched from the calorie surplus to the calorie deficit. Those first days are always a little bit tricky, but after that, it's been smooth sailing. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. I might lose 1 more pound max, but I'll try after that to stay at the same weight and see if I can recomposition a little bit, so see if I can lose a little bit more fat and gain a little bit more muscle. Now, overall, keep in mind that just practicing one of these habits by itself will not have a huge and fast impact, but when combined together, they can compound and start building serious momentum to the point that it will feel like fat is just dropping effortlessly off your body. That being said, if you are starting from scratch, incorporating all of these together can be overwhelming. Plus, figuring out how to tailor each one, to your body, your goals, and lifestyle can be tricky, especially, again, if you are a stressed, busy dad. The key is making one little change at a time, and if you need more help with that, make sure that you join our daily Busy Dad newsletter. We go a lot more into depth in all these things there. There's a link below you can click on. It's just gonna take you 2 minutes. That was all for today. As usual, if you have any questions, make sure you let me know. I always do my best to get back to every single one of you. And until next time, keep on training.